I've spent a good amount of time going back and forth between the images in both of these optics, and I think I like the actual feel of the HT Gen 2 a little bit more. It does resemble some more traditional style optics. This has a couple unique features, and the way that the eyepiece is set up on this one is just a little different than you're going to find here. Sometimes different is better, but in this case, I kind of like the way that the HT is set up over the LHT. The LHT does have a few advantages, but let's just start by going down to minimum parallax. So 10 yards for your minimum on both. You can go very, very close. So both would work for air guns and both work for varminting really, really close. Going to low end power. Low end power, you actually got lower, technically, end power on the 4 to 16 than you do on the 4.5 to 18. One of the advantages of that for me is I have a wider field of view, and if I'm taking a 10-yard shot at a squirrel, which I've had the opportunity to do a couple times today, I can have a wide field of view while I'm tracking something compared to 4.5, which is just slightly smaller. So that might be nitpicking a little bit. Illumination between the two, it's a toss-up for me. I don't think I have a preference for illumination. Turret housing is very, very similar, if not the exact same. And both of them are quarter MOA. I think the function of the magnification assist lever, I'm going to give it to the LHT on my model. The LHT is smoother, not smoother, it's easier to actuate. The diopters were the same on both of these, but the HT is just a little bit firmer to move, and it is relatively cold out. It's 40 degrees colder than it was yesterday. Moving up to 100 yards on the image, and I have pre-tested these to make sure that my diopter is set right and that I'm actually setting it to a distance that's good for my eye. I've been testing it back and forth today quite a bit. At 100 yards, and I need to make sure we're on 16 power for both, as close to max as possible. So when it comes to eye box, I think the LHT is okay. The reticle is pretty good. Little sensitivity there on 16 power. The HT even though both of these have some chromatic aberration, they're going to have a little bit of distortion. The reticle might seem more bold, which is a big deal. I like a more bold reticle. It just seems like it's not as sensitive in the eye box. There is some chromatic aberration in the image, but I can get past it. On this particular model, I just think the 4 to 16 is a little bit superior for that. At least for the two models that I have. When it comes to field of view, I don't actually know the numbers off the top of my head of what they're advertising for either of these, but I will tell you the 4 to 16 appears to me to have a wider field of view, which very well could be that it has a wider field of view. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But just taking a peek here, it sure seems like the apparent field of view, yeah, sure seems like it's a good bit wider. So I like a good wide field of view. Again, hunting, target shooting, practice competition, any of those things, wider field of view is generally better, and a larger objective bell can be a part of that. So we're looking at a 44 on this one and a 42 on this one, just slightly smaller, which is, again, why it's on a PCP, and this one is on my rimfire. I think with the design of the LHT, it lends itself pretty well to a PCP application. Here on this PCP, you can see the distance behind the turret for eye relief and the actual ocular piece here. The ocular and eyepiece is shorter by a good bit than the other one. And so the HT is a little bit longer. Like I said, it feels a little bit more like a traditional scope, but on PCPs and rifles that have a short length of pull, the LHT has an advantage. This is easier to set up on a short length of pull rifle like a lot of air guns and PCPs are. on this optic, being that it's a little bit longer and you have this leveling pad or whatever they want to call this right here, this flat portion, it does tend to push things a little bit forward for me. And I have a long length of pull stock, so it's just not an issue at all. It's more comfortable, but this is not as at home on a PCP or air rifle as the LHT. And this is not as at home on a longer length stock. So you can see there's a lot of trade-offs here. There's a lot of back and forth. Overall, if I could only have one, if I had to pick one Discovery Optic between the LHT and the HT, you know, considering you're on a budget and you're trying to outfit your hunting rifle, or you're trying to get into plinking, do some PCP work maybe, I think I'll probably lean towards the HT overall. It's a pretty good deal. The price difference is not enormous between the two. And if you're an MOA shooter, I think you can appreciate both of them. Or you can start saving up and going towards their ED line if you have the money. The ED line is going to be a superior image, but for a lot of us, just don't need it. Going to be okay with this. A little bit of chromatic aberration, distortion, maybe a lightly shaded reticle is not going to be a really big deal. Some of you don't need huge light collection. You're shooting during daylight hours, and so a 42mm objective is going to be fine. It's not going to cause a problem for you. Some of you just want the best that you can get at your price point, and you're going to want to lean towards this one. So I don't know if I helped any of you at all with deciding on a real extreme budget optic, but for me, I mean, I've got them both for a reason, and I think they have their place. So let me know down in the comments what you think. Would you prefer one of them, and then why? And what's your application? I'd be really curious to hear what you guys have to say.